Yes. I was sort of happy about doing the stream, and now I see Creature's here, so I think I'll just cancel the stream. No point doing a stream when Creature's around because he'll just tell me that everything's wrong. Hello everybody, welcome. I've got to get some things built because I have sold things that I do not have. I'm beginning to write checks that my stock cannot fill at this point. Or I should rather say receive checks that my stock cannot complement. And let's see. And let's see. Creature is in pain. Oh, what did you do to yourself? Joey, Bodger, Creature, Birds, Jim. Oh, Jim. Pedro. We don't say hello to Pedro. Hey there, Harold. Good to see you too. Electro Rep, and I saw that. Yeah, I saw Defbomb was in here, but if Defbomb, have you gone to sleep? Wake up. Okay, alright, so we've got some USB-C meters to build. By the way, I got new glasses. So, yeah, you can see they're a little stronger than the previous ones. It's just the nature of it. I have also got a single 4K screen now, which I can't really show you because I don't really feel like pulling out the camera on it. So I'm now back to like a single 4K screen. Unfortunately, it's only a 32 inch, so things aren't quite how I want, but I fear that I really want about 36 inch, but I just don't see them around. I don't think they make them. And I've got a 13 inch panel in the front of me to just see what's coming out of OBS. The trouble is the 13 inch panel, this is the one that kind of replaced the 10 inch ones that Jim sent me from years ago. It's not as good by any means, so yeah, there we go, it has a problem where the brightness flicks in, flicks out, so there's obviously an issue there. I'm going to have to, I don't know, I have to have a look at it later. It's definitely, when I turned it on, the quality just wasn't the same as what the 10 inch ones were. Alright, enrolled in physio after tearing half a calf muscle. Oh, yucky, yucky, yucky. Yeah, Pedro, I'm going to ignore that. Miles, the problem with having so many monitors in this section here is that there's just no room for it. It was getting in the way. There was also the inconsistency of the alignment. It was a pain in the backside. So I just decided I wanted to go 4K, but 32 is just a little bit too small for my eyes. Anyway, yeah, so we've got some USB-C meters I've got to build. Get them underway. Oh, and I fixed up the suction pump, I hope. But I also did order a proper suction pump, which is really the same thing. It's just an aquarium pump that they've flipped the valve around on, but at least this is officially done. The only thing is they have like European and American 2-pin leads on it, so I'm going to have to take that out and put an Australian 2-pin lead on it. Pedro, I'm sorry, it was a little slow of me. I should have gotten to the disrespect basically straight away. So yeah, you've been disrespected by the fact that you weren't disrespected fast enough. Oh yeah, crinkle noises. Okay. A3X. Okay, what's this? I don't know why that's there. It's just been madness today. I have not had a chance to get anything that I wanted done. I've been very busy with, some of you may be aware, I've been very busy with a file format decoding project. And, oh my goodness. And after quite a bit of messing around, it was finally decided that they're using some sort of DES encoding for the data, which is a real nuisance because it also looks like they are using a custom DES setup. It's not the, how could you say, it's not the cryptographic standard one, it's something else. Anyway, we're working on it. We've at least found the routines where they're doing the work, and we desperately want to get this file format sorted out because there are so many files available in this format, and of course right now basically no one can read them because they're in this special format which they shouldn't even be in the first place. When I say shouldn't even be, I'm basically meaning that they were taken from somewhere in a format that I probably could have read, and then they'll convert it into the proprietary format that has this DES encoded sections in it. And BS encoded. Yeah, that's it. Hey, Victor Young, been a while, a pro engineer. So yeah, we're working on that. We've made some really good progress. I basically have worked out 90% of the file format. So, and it's interesting the things I've got in there. So I've got the outlines, I've got the at least the way they're doing the multiple layers of PCB traces, so we can have all the traces in the layers, but that won't be happening in this. I can decode them, but I can't present them in Flexboard view at the moment. We've got the networks, we've got also some data down the bottom, which I don't really care about at the moment, like for diode values and things. But yeah, they put all the parts into these DES type encoded sections, and I was like, flippin' hell. We've got to go through and verify if they're using the standard DES or whether they've written their own with some tweaks. And it's kind of moot, really, at the end of the day, because we can see what's been done. We've got the source code basically, but obviously it doesn't have pretty variable names. But it's just really a matter of us plugging along and decompiling what is there into a reader. That's it. So they've kind of made their code more complicated for no real gain. And see, once we work this out, that's it. But of course, admittingly, maybe we shouldn't shout that out too loud, because otherwise I go, all right, fine, we'll just make version 2 different. We'll make it even harder again. We'll use AES encoding or something like that. They'll make it difficult. But to be fair, again, we can just go in and see what they're doing. I'm not going to give them ideas of how they can defeat that more effectively. There are definitely ways you can make it annoying as hell, but yeah, I'm not going to give them the heads up on that. The frustrating thing is that I actually approached the company after they approached me. And that sounds a bit weird. They approached me because they wanted the source code for Flexboard View, because they want to replace their current viewer display engine for their boards with mine, because mine's better. And I said, no, look, I said, I can offer you a big figure, and if you want to pay this, then sure, you can have it. You can have the source code, but they didn't want to. And so I said to them, well, I've got some formats that you are not decoding. I can let you, I can give you the source code for that, so you can implement them yourself if you give me the source, the implementation details of yours. And they said, no, thanks. Now, the trouble that they're going to face here is that I'm going to be able to, hopefully I'm not getting ahead of myself here, I'm going to be able to decode theirs, and they're not going to be able to decode this one. So they could have had some money, but they chose not to. And I also approached another person who has this decoded, and I said, hey, are you interested in revealing the details? I'll pay you this much. It'll save me doing it myself. And they're like, no thanks. And I was like, okay. And now we're doing it, and once we do it and it goes public, then it's like, well, you had 3 extra months of other people not being able to decode your software, and that's all you got. You could have had a few thousand. Hey, Gary Stevens. Hey, Thomas Bulver. Sorry, I wasn't watching the chat too much. I've got to get used to the new setup. I do apologize. The thing is, ultimately, most of the security it's just not realistic for them to. About the only way they could really do it, I suppose, is if they end up doing entirely browser-based, like image-based. And I don't think the internet's quite up to that. Alright, that's probably going to be the last shot we get out of that. So yeah, these people could have had a few thousand in their bank account. And I wasn't even asking for the implementation, I was just simply saying I would like the specification. You give me the specification, you get a few thousand, and your product is different to my product, so we're not really, I'm not really taking your market from you. Could have shared some intellectual property, but no. Anyway, so in the end I'm going to end up with everything I wanted and that money in my account still, which is great because it means I can now pay the people who were generous enough to help me. Oh man, I just flippin' slid that. Oh well, good thing it's not super critical. It means I'm going to be able to give some people some money, even if they don't want it, for helping out. Wow, I just smudged that voltage regulator's pads. Good thing I don't use that one. Yeah, Miles, it's pretty bad. I'm really not a fan of it at all these days. I just can't believe how well the subscription system took off. Much to my horror. Okay. Well, I still use Eagle 7, I think it is, 7 point something. And that was the last one before Autodesk took it and made it subscription based. It still runs, it still does most of what I don't do any really complicated boards at all, as Creature well knows. My stuff's very simple. And these days, if I really need something more, I'll just go to KiCad if I really want to subject myself to such torture. But, the option's there. What am I looking for? Please stand by. Yeah, Howard, I wasn't going to buy into their whole subscription thing. I was like, hell no, get out of here. It's like, why would I want to do that? And I mean, they've got some nice features, like their trace fellow and things like that. Definitely there was some nice bits in there, but not enough for me to give up having perpetual ownership of that software. I still actually have my license card too. Eagle 6.5. Why haven't you got 7 point something, Pedro? You should have been able to upgrade to 7. Or did they lock that out? Yeah, Creature, I know. We were all talking with each other around the time that happened. Let's do a little bit more of a zoom in here. There we go. Hey, B-Blood. I was using CS5 for years prior. Alright, hopefully the improved suction along with the improved vision. Okay, what the frick? Like, suction should have been better than that. I was picking up SO8s dead easy before. And now it's... What the... It might be because the surface of these resistors is actually rather... Oh great, and now I've got it... Oh wow, we're off to a good start, Paul. There is a piece of crap, probably flux. the end of these goddamn tweezers. Die, 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 die. You happy now? You happy? Ruining my work already? Suction certainly sucks. Indeed it does. It's sort of like one of those, no matter how much it sucks, it sucks. So it either sucks well or it sucks. Much success. Okay, I don't like it being on this side of my legs. Hey Antonio, welcome. Alright, let's see if it does any good with these CH340s. I doubt it. I feel grievously disappointed. I had high hopes of showing you guys how well it sucked. Yeah, I gotta remember my orientations. We don't want a repeat of the other week. This must be, oh, this is a new batch of the sensors. I can tell because the orientation dot on them is actually visible. Well, it'll be good to receive the supposed professional, it's not really professional, but the properly made, modified vacuum cleaner thingy. I mean, aquarium pump. To be fair, at least it shouldn't be fighting against a bunch of leaking hot glue or anything like that. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to get these board files decoded. Very exciting. I'm trying to decide whether the first thing I should do is actually convert them into something like BVR3. Obviously BVR3 is my own format, but the upside is that it's very verbose and it's all text. Yeah, there's nothing hidden in it. I could try and write a GenCAD converter. I might do that, so that we can basically export. The only trouble with making it GenCAD is that GenCAD is more of a full design file format as opposed to a board view format. Oh, and that's the other thing. I changed the damn LEDs so that I got ones that have the marks on the top of them. Dimensions and thickness of the USB-C meter. Yes. I don't know. What, you think I designed this or something? I'm not quite sure. What I can do, if you're after making a, what do you call it? a nice little case for it, then what I can do is I'll send you... Actually, I thought it was online anyway. Anyway, there's a pre-existing CAD file that has all the marks for the drill hole, the mount holes here. So it's probably going to be useful to you, but I'll get the dimensions after we're finished. That's just my way of forcing you to have to stick around. Pedro's going to ruin everything by giving you the information before I'm ready to. Curse you, community. The suction's certainly better when it's the 603 parts, no question about it. My glasses are helping too. I can actually fairly well see what I'm doing. Harold was happy with these reels of 12. I got to agree with you, Harold. 1206s are a beautiful thing. Oh, that reminds me. There was somebody on a recent Graham Admin IT stream, not stream, video, and they were asking what this chipmunk thing was that Graham kept talking about. I've got to go find that comment and send them your way. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning when I saw it, so I didn't actually get a chance to reply. Thought I'd interject and give them the details. See you, Dev Pump. Oh, you got to go to work in 5 hours. Well, there's plenty of sleep. You'll be right. I need to get a better light here. It's crazy. I've got so much light either side and around me, and yet I still need more light. I need light coming from up here. Alright, here goes the throw a million caps at the board. The next iteration of this board that I'm doing, I'm going to make sure all these caps are in the same damn orientation. I'm so sick of picking them up and having to twist it around for each one. So can we just have one orientation for the cap, please? So it's like 50-50. There's probably a few excess duplicates I can get rid of too. Not that it really hurts having too many 100 nanofarads scattered around. Definitely having good orientation goes a long way towards you maintaining your sanity when you're doing far too many of these. Thankfully I don't do too many of these, so my sanity remains relatively intact, at least until I try to work out why the hell Python sucks so hard on almost every single operating system with all the different versions, and pip doesn't work here, and then you got to use pipx, and then you got to do this. It is a freaking nightmare. I mean, really. Python, sort yourself out. Like, I'm trying to run Ghidra, or however you pronounce it, and I'm trying to get the debugger up and running. Now on macOS, that's LLDB. And so I do all the installations, I install LLDB's already there, and then I install LLVM, and you do all the flippin' Python bits and bits, and then you run it. And then it says dumb stuff like, PS utils is not installed, can't find PS utils. And you're like, okay, fine, I must have forgotten that. So you install PS utils, and pip says, can't do this, you got to do it through pipx. And I'm like, oh, fine, whatever. So you would try pipx, and pipx says, I don't know anything about that. I think you're making a mistake. And you're like, fine. And so you go Python 3 hyphen user install PS utils, whatever gibberish. And it says, okay, I've installed that. And you go, finally. And you go to run it. And the debugger goes, PS utils not found. It's a mess. Python is a freaking mess. It reminds me of Perl. Just how disorganized it feels. I mean, I don't deny it's got its power and all that sort of stuff, but stuff like that really just is so annoying. It's also why I tend to stick with well-known distributions, things like Ubuntu and whatever. And by the way, I am using also Brew on macOS. I'm using Brew to do the installs, and it doesn't help. Resistor arrays are always an interesting thing. There was a few times I wanted to use them, and I did try them, Harold, and in the end the expense was a big issue. It probably is different now. Like if I bought a reel of whatever, 1,000 or 800, whatever, maybe that'd be better. And at least if you get decent sized ones, it's not so bad, because otherwise you end up with these stupid, annoying bridges. Hey Ed Boss. Add virtual environments where some tools ignore the virtual environment. Yeah, I saw that was actually an option. So you need to set up your own Python virtual environment. And I'm like, oh God, no. The actual main program, Ghidra or whatever it is, that's running fine. Like this, that sort of stuff, the decompiler, the source viewer and all that sort of stuff. Good, no problem. But yeah, I'll try to run the debugger. Horribly, the only thing that the debugger runs okay on is Windows. But I need to do it on macOS in this particular instance. Well, Paul, you can't just do that, buddy. Yeah. Okay. See, Miles, sounds like me trying to rebuild people's Windows installs from legacy. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm glad I don't do that crap anymore. I gave up on someone's iPhone migration the other day too. The only time I'm content to do a migration on the iPhone is if the old one is, say, like an iPhone 10, something fairly recent. If the person absolutely knows unquestionably their Apple ID and password, and we are using and that matches what is on the source phone, and we are going to exactly the same details. If everything is lined up and exact, then I will take on the job. But most of the time I find that the old phones are usually under a different iCloud account, It's usually different by 1 or 2 letters, or it might say have a country prefix on the domain, like Yahoo versus yahoo.com.au or something like that. Little things like that don't seem like they're a big issue, but then when you're trying to do the migration, it's a disaster. Why would anyone want to upgrade to Windows 11? I guess it's been forced upon us. I see I've missed a cap. Fortunately, it's early days on the heat process. Did we save that one? Stop messing with it, Paul. Yeah, it's still a bit messy, but we might get there. Hey, Mr. Bodger. Enjoying the whinging. Ugh. Hey, Grass Puddle. Did anybody watch the Starship 6? I completely missed it. I normally watch all of those Starship launches and crashes and whatever, and for some reason I missed the 6th one. And I see they had to ditch the booster into the sea because of the fact that the tower there was a problem with the tower. So, that was a smart thing to do, and they were prepared for that. The trouble is, people are losing their minds. They're like going, it worked last time, now it's not working. It's like, it was actually pretty cool that it worked the first time. I don't think you can expect it to work every time thereafter. They're going to be finding out things that are breaking, whatever. And it was good to see that it survived re-entry pretty good, the actual Starship. There was a little bit of concern with that hinge area at the leading edge again, cooking up, but yeah, it seemed fine. Quite impressive. What I found interesting though, when looking at the Starship body, you could see they actually, or at least it looked like, they had taken off a whole bank of heat tiles off the side of it. They just ripped them all off. I was like, wow, okay. I was anticipating it to be blood. I was following up to it, but then the last couple of days have just been mayhem, and I completely missed it. Trump and Rocket Man. Yeah, I'm going to ignore the Trump bit, but I'm still very excited about the whole rocket stuff. I mean, I don't know whether we'll actually really ever get to Mars in a hurry, but I'm just happy to see them pushing the development of these rockets further along. We've had a lot of stagnation for the last 30-40 years. So it's nice to see the innovations. Don't touch it, Paul. Yeah, B-Blood, you could see where the, I know what you mean, the rainbow patterns were occurring. So yeah, it's nice to see someone out there pushing that sort of technology, trying out things, willing to blow a bunch of money. And at least the nice thing is, the money is obviously going back into the system. Someone's got to pay for the stainless steel, someone's got to pay for the labour, all those people are getting paid. As opposed to the money just sitting in somebody's bank account and doing nothing. We're 192, we should be kicking up, but again, the fiberglass boards always take longer. I'm happy for the rich man to have his toys. Like I said, he's employing a bunch of people. There's a lot of people getting good careers out of this. So I'm more than happy for that. We've got a bit of a cold spot over here for some reason. It might be because the air's drawing over there. Okay, I may have prematurely actually turned that off. Just notice up here we need a little bit more. I should send it back through re-entry and see how it goes. Yeah, I'll be bloody. That's it. You know, NASA basically has become strangled by the bureaucracy. Yeah, they did amazing things back in the 60s when they had a bit of a free rein. But certainly by the time shuttle came along, it was starting to get choked by the usual things that choke these things. But you need someone who's willing to risk billions for a longer term vision than just the next quarter. That's the trouble now. Everybody's got everything, well, not everything, but yeah, the focus now is this going to turn us a profit for the next quarter? And if it's not, we're not interested. Of course, then you do have things like, what was Boeing's version? Starliner? Yeah, Starliner. I mean, what the hell? Starliner is a good example of things not going how they should, I suppose. As opposed to Starship. Put this very hot plate somewhere else. SpaceX capsule is a taxi cab. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I like the fact that I can appreciate the technicality feeling of, say, the Starliner or the Soyuz type modules and all that, but at the end of the day, you kind of want a lot of this stuff to become turnkey. So you really want to make it as straightforward as possible, ultimately. Starliner is many more times the ship for long distances. You mean like the... I mean, I got to say, one thing that really not confuses me, but seems a bit odd is just how much refueling they're going to have to do to get Starship to the moon. And it's like, oh, you know, that, I think, what is it, 6 refuelings or something like that to get it there. And I feel like that is a bit of a, I don't know why, a bit of an oversight or something. Not an oversight, but yeah, it just feels like it's a bit excessive when you're kind of depending on a delicate process happening reliably 6 times. I mean, okay, maybe it's 5, I don't know. Maybe it's more to do with the relative energy densities of the fuels. I mean, I know they've gone with the Methalox for the fact that it can be generated and mined in other places. Yeah, that's just it now. It really feels like it was more designed for big single shot, low, medium, maybe geostationary orbit cargo, as opposed to interplanetary, but yeah. Then again, I am not a rocket scientist. So I guess for me and most of us, it's, you know what I forgot to do, other than check everything. I forgot to make sure these are all lined up. Thankfully that one's okay. But yeah, naturally that little beast is taking a wander, and that one seems to do it a fair bit. Hey, full wave. Lucky us, no bridges on that one. Okay. No bridges. In spite of the fact that I've just thrown them down, that's pretty good. 3 out of 3 so far. See if the fourth one... that's good too. No. So far it looks like we've just got this little dude that didn't really swing around properly. And he wasn't even critical. And the resistor. Which resistor is? Did I miss a resistor there? But yeah, you can see these LEDs are profoundly easier to orientate because you've actually got the dots on the top. Okay, yeah, okay. The feed-in resistors for the current sense, not ideal. But it is stuck there. No bridge, no bridge, no bridge. No bridge. That's actually pretty good going. Probably one of the best jobs so far in terms of first off the hot plate. Alright, let's get these reprogrammed. Okay. Ooh, and I've got a new programmer coming too. I'm going to be excited to see that turn up. This is an Adafruit one, but I've got someone sending me a nice new one too. Something different, similar sort of concept, but yeah, not Adafruit. So I'm going to be excited to see that. I think these LEDs might actually do well to go back to 150 milliamp. So I'm going to flip it over this way, and then you should be able to see the LED. So ground, no. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty dim, so I think I might kick them over to back to 150. But that means reworking. To be fair, this is under a fairly bright thing. And it's only meant to be a pilot light, just a status light, like, hey, I'm alive. Okay, it's all good. So maybe I'll just leave it. Alright, now we've got to fill up the trenches. And then after this I've got to get some MacBooks done. So, see if I can fix up one on stream just as a treat. No coffee for me. 9 o'clock. Sort of got 1 hour before I have to get back to things. Hey, g'day, gear. Good to see you. I have to make a copy of that USB stick, by the way, and send it out. And then somebody, they have got a, I think they've got a 400, 100 internet connection, and they're going to host it. So then we can all get all those files, if that's okay. Oh, you actually bought one of those Atom stations, creature. What did you change from? What was your previous one? Was it JBC? Your collection's 225 gigs now? Jeez. I'm gonna have to send that stick back to you, I think, or send you another stick. Of course, and now if we can get this new file format sorted out, man, things are gonna be fun. Like, I mean, I was very happy when I got T-Bow View decoded. I thought that was, that was definitely a big thing that I need to get done. And I was exceptionally happy that I was able to also get the stencil layers showing up, so yeah, you could really get a feel for the board. But yeah, then everything started, this whole XZZ stuff started showing up, and I was like, oh geez. And it was frustrating because very quickly I could say, okay, I can understand this format, until I got to those encoded sections and I was like, ah, shite. And it's not really my area of expertise, reverse engineering actual software. The file format's fine, but once they become encrypted like that, it's like, and I was looking to hire the services of, I think it's called Crack Us or something like that. They're an official, genuine DES cracking service. For research purposes, they say. I'm going to have to send you some funds for that one, yeah. It'd be fine if we all had gigabit internet. That'd make life so much easier. I'm soldering. Basically the problem here is that with the stenciling you can't get enough solder into those slots. I mean, yeah, you can see that there's solder in there and they're holding, but I just want a little bit more mechanical bite on it. So obviously filling up the hole itself with solder doesn't really do anything for you. But the concept here is that it should let the solder wick up the side of the connector on the other side. And so with that wicking you'll get a little bit more of a fillet and with that little bit more of a fillet you get a little bit more strength. It's through cockatoo actually, Creature. We use cockatoos out here. The wallabies don't really care to come out this far, so we have to use Cockatoo Express. And as Jim can well tell you, they can be very noisy. Most of the time we actually have more of a dominant galah population here. But every now and then we'll get a bunch of drunk, well they're not really drunk, but they behave that way. Cockatoos come through and hanging out in the big gum tree, making an awful racket. They're like mates at a pub yelling out at each other, "Yeah, mate, over here, hey!" Yep, rascals. Mr. Bodger, what are you, 13? Creature, that sounds like the sort of route I would take. I'm not a big fan of the, as you mentioned there, I'm not a big fan of the whole dual system like that, for those reasons. If anyone's wondering the reason why those little pads there aren't populated with a part, they are the data lines. And so if you wish to actually connect the data lines for the USB-C meter, then you may do that at your own personal peril. Because if something goes wrong on your, say something wrong with your PD, the MacBook or the power brick that you're using, and it decides, hey, I'm going to send 20 volts on one of the data lines, then you're just going to kill your machine, or you're going to kill your power, something. And so by leaving them disconnected by default, hopefully we shouldn't have that. Bottleneck for your collection, now hosted on a Raspberry Pi 4. I think it's great that it's hosted on a Raspberry Pi 4. Of course, yeah, I get the it's a little limited, but I think it's fantastic what the Raspberry Pis can do now. Although they are getting quite expensive, I must say. Yeah, back in the day it was a Raspberry Pi for $30 or $40. Agreeably, they have become substantially more powerful machines, but the original concept was a very cheap machine. But I suppose you just grow with your market. I always liked the Intel Atoms, but I feel like they never really took off properly. I feel like they were put into positions that were perhaps a little bit too demanding for what they were, and it kind of soured the market towards the Atom. The other problem I had with the Atom is that it was limited to 2 disks, and I think it was 4 gigs. And by the time Intel realized that it was sort of hurting their sales and they improved things, it was pretty much too little too late. So now for a lot of my stuff I'll use things like the J3500 or is it 3500 or 5300? Anyway, the all-in-one integrated chipset boards now. They're cheap, they do the job well, there's nothing really limiting you. And everything's standard. Hey Kiwi Chess. I have got a couple of Raspberry Pis, but I never end up using them much. It was like, oh yeah, this is interesting, played around with them, set them up, put Ubuntu on them or some other distro. And then I just didn't really continue to use them after that. For my home storage server, I'm using one of these, J3500s or whatever they are, because I also use it for data recovery and a few other things like databases and whatever. So realistically, it probably could run on Pi, but I needed the extra disk ports. I should have done this initially, but yeah, anyway, better now than later. I am pleased to tell you all that the edges on these things are rounded, they're smoothed. It's not like just deadly fresh cut sheet metal. That stuff gives me the heebie-jeebies. Anybody who's worked with freshly cut sheet metal understands why it's scary stuff. And anytime you see someone approaching a drill press with a piece of sheet metal, you're just like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to see what's going to happen, I'm leaving, I'm going away, goodbye. Because drill presses and sheet metal are a horrendously dangerous combination that slash and maim a lot more people than it should. Right, now I need my displays. Yes, that's right, Harold. Deadly, deadly. Well, that's the trouble though, is it's not even deadly. It's just more like, as you know, or as everybody knows, it's the maiming and the mess and the fact that blood rusts your tools so quickly. So after you've been maimed, you have to go along and still clean up all your tools before you take yourself down to the hospital. Otherwise you'll come back and you'll have to replace those drill bits and that workbench and everything else. Now we must do the disservice of cutting the legs off these. I hope one day I can actually buy 1,000 of these screens in one hit so that I can order them without the stupid backlight. Because believe me, the backlight is just no good. It's really no good at all. See that you repair a lot of MacBooks. Are you a Mac person myself? No, I'm actually not overly. My main machine is a just a Linux PC. I've got a i5 12600 or something I think I've got now. And this machine is the same. I do have Macs and I do use them. Interestingly enough, I find them nice to use for when I really don't want to deal with computers. And same with the phone. I'm an iPhone user because of the fact that I really just want it as a phone. I don't care about the fact that I'm going to get a better that's going to be fun. I don't care about the fact that, I'm going to get a better performance price ratio out of an Android, or it's got more control on the apps or anything like that. It's like, it's an application. It's a appliance for me. That's all I want it for. It's just an appliance. I'm not caring too much about the technicals. And so it suits my needs. Now, if I do want to get into the technicals, then I've got my Linux. And if I feel like I'm in a bit of a sadomastic mood, then I'll fire up Windows. Everyone loves the 1534. Ooh, yeah. Here we go. Talk about sadomasochism. I saw someone was asking for a 1534 screen today. And I thought, how many offers is this guy going to get of people actually saying, here, I'll give you $5 to take my screens from me. I can't stand those machines. Yeah, everybody throws them in the bin. It's where they belong, unfortunately. I don't even know what Apple was thinking about that one. It was terrible design. I mean, just the build of it. That whole split S cable that would just strip apart as soon as you opened it up if you did it wrong. Yeah, everything about it was just horrible. And thankfully, it seems like Apple kind of got the hint themselves and went, yeah, okay, that one's on us. It's a bit like the A1425. That was a real Frankenstein's monster type thing. To be fair, I think the 1425 led us to the 1502, and so I'm happy about that. But unfortunately now the 1502s have sort of definitely reached the end of their lifespan. I mean, there's a few around, but overall it's not a machine I would recommend. These days I'm happy to pick up things like an M1, 2337, things like that. They're good. Let's see. Right, now we need to actually verify that these work, since I was a doofus. There's my cable. Oh, the screen connect. Oh, yeah, that horrible like compound latch system that whatever it was. Yeah, absolutely. I forgot about that. Thank you. That was horrible. And you just horrible. And I remember, what was it, Duke commenting about him, saying you don't flip them up or something like that. There was a lot of confusion about what you could and couldn't do with that screen connector. Anyway, that's working fine. My phone is gonna hate me soon. It's gonna be all, what are you doing? Make up your mind. Do you want me to charge or don't you want me to charge? Oh, you actually found the non-backlight ones? Because yeah, I asked the supplier of these. I said, look, I really just don't want backlight on them, and they said, yeah, we can get them to you. You know, I said, well, you used to sell them, and you don't anymore. They're like, yeah, we didn't bother anymore making them, but we can do 1,000 for you if you like, for whatever. I think it was like $1.50 a piece or something like that. And I was like, yeah, it's tempting, but I don't think I can quite stretch. And now I have forgotten which ones I tested versus which ones I didn't test. God damn it, I hate that. I hate it when you get your piles mixed up. Saw in Joey's Discord you had a 3D printer file. Oh yeah, yes, I do. Yeah, I'll get that sorted out. So I basically got to go through all these again because I'm an idiot. Spent all yesterday printing this thing just to hold my torch batteries. So, other than the color, what does the Pantone have to do with the phone code? I have no idea. I think they just sort of like stole the name. I was kind of curious about it myself. I was like, this is not a genuine Pantone. I can't imagine Pantone would do this. And if it was Pantone, they would probably mark on there what the actual color it is. So I think it's just like a brand theft or something like that. Alright, we're all good. Okay, they're all good to be packed up for tomorrow. We have done our deed for the night. The deed is done. Rock. Sorry. It was just a tribute. Wasn't really the song I was meaning to sing. Okay, MacBook. Where is the MacBook? Okay, what do we got? Let's see, 13-inch. Device started to randomly reboot. Display would go black. No backlight. Blah blah. What about this one? Power supply has failed. Tech did something. Cannot restore power from this. What? I don't even remember this one. Who are you people? I need my glasses. Power supply has failed. Tech repaired, guys. Can't restore the power problem. This has rendered the hard drive inaccessible, I imagine it's meant to be saying. What are you? You're a 19... Yeah, you're a 1990. Shite. Alright, this could be another sad story. Guess we'll see. It's been a long time since I've done a MacBook on live. Let's hope I don't regret this. Off to Badminton. Oh, enjoy that. Smack the living daylights out of those feathers. I'm not going to say the real name because we know that will just give me instant demonetization of a channel that isn't even monetized. It'll be so severely demonetized that they'll monetize me just to demonetize me. Right, I need one of my special plastic containers that Pedro needs to stop stealing. Shuttle rooster, that's the one. Use nylon? Oh. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I better clean this down, just in case there are remnants of lead paste on there. And you know, you might give it back to the customer, and the customer has a child, or they are a child, and they lick the case. to taste to see where it's travelled in the world, and they ingest lead, and it destroys their intelligence. Okay, 1990, we don't power these on until we've opened it up, checked everything. Why is the meter glitching? Because I haven't set the thresholds. Yeah, I should stop now. Basically what it is in the settings you can change the threshold in which it will start tracking the data or not. And I think I turned it down to like 2 milliamps or something like that. And because the cable that converts from USB-C to Lightning draws something around that, just its own draw, it will trigger the display. Yes, the lead is very sweet and tasty. Best if you get it on nice paint chips. Oh yeah, this has been opened. Yeah, there we go. Let's have a look. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I can immediately see corrosion there. Nothing really showing up there, thankfully. They've left the battery flex floating around in here while the battery is connected. So we have a flex here, that's a spare for some reason. But the flex is floating around, and it probably hasn't done anything, but things like that are like, it's kind of like leaving some loose screws in there or something like that. So I don't know whether that was an oversight, maybe it got stuck to the inside of the bottom case. Damn you T4s. God, I hate T4. So everything was good when Macs mostly were using T5 screws, but then they had to drop to these T4s, and they annoy me. First thing we're going to do is measure some continuities. Okay, PP bus. Bloody good start, I say, good sir. Okay, so we've got a rockin' hard short on our PP bus. Could be anything. With A1990s and 2141s, probably 90% of your jobs are going to be short on the PP bus, or they're going to be short on the NAND 2V5. Every now and then you'll get one that sneaks by with a short on the 0V9 or maybe the 1V8 of the NAND. But outside of that, you don't see them come in for any other real faults. They're pretty good machines, really. The 2141, the 1990, they are good machines. They've just got this terrible design flaw where the air intake brings everything over this chip here, which is your most critical kind of chip. Bit of a shame. But if you sort of dealt with that, if you could resolve that problem, then they would have been fantastic machines. Like I said, well, they are. They just need constant maintenance. We don't know if it's a cap creature. For all we know, it could be a shorted VRM for the GPU or the CPU. No, I hope it isn't. I really hope it isn't. I don't want one of those. Actually, the only other fault that I will occasionally see for, I think it's the 19, yeah, is the display mux will blow out for some reason. Hey horse, good time to see you. Didn't get a notification. Okay, now that is a little weird because I do have notifications on the live stream channel. I have been doing a little bit of experimenting on the main channel with not announcing the upload of videos, just a bit of experimentation. But on this live channel, yeah, it should all be announced. Just switched off the ultrasonic, started heating from 11, jeez. Meanwhile here, it sits at about 35 the whole time. Doesn't take long to heat up. I usually go to about, these days I go to about 50, 55 Celsius. 5 minutes each side. Put it through the deionized rinse and blow it out and stick it in the oven for 20 minutes at 120 Celsius. That's probably the most reliable way I can do ultrasonicing, but I still generally don't do it if I can avoid it. With these machines, it's probably paranoia, but I've had a few too many scenarios where everything's been pretty good and then something goes wrong. To be fair, it's probably an indication there was something faulty in the first place that was just hanging on, and the ultrasonic simply kicked it off and said, there you go, you're properly faulty now. Certainly if you're doing a data recovery situation, do not stick it in the ultrasonic unless you actually have a very good reason to do so. Yeah, B-blood, you could put filtering membrane in there, although it would choke up and then heat up. But MacBooks, at least, one good thing about them is they are designed to run hot, or they are designed to tolerate hot. So, you know, people scream if their PC is hitting 70 Celsius. MacBook, meanwhile, is like, we haven't even turned on yet. There's certainly plenty of trash. Oh yeah, we've got a nice bundle of trash there. We'll brush that off into the filter. Hey laptop. Alright, so anybody who's been watching my videos knows that instead of going straight for injection or anything like that, I take a good hard long look at the board. Size it up, see if it's able to do what I need it to do. Wire brush and Dettol, no. It's not personal health day. So if we're extremely lucky, we will have a shorted cap by the 2V5 reg, but it'll be the PP bus one. But to be honest, I actually kind of don't want that today. Oh, there we go. Yep, kaput. That's a very classic one. Even spat bits of its metal out. Yep. Okay, standard fault. This is how they first started showing up originally, when we'd first start seeing these jobs come in. Just shortly afterwards, and we're like, wow, this is interesting. Now this one thankfully doesn't look too bad. It hasn't started eating into the board. So what would often happen with these is we'd get the corrosion here and the cap would get shorted and heat up, but then the damage would really come about is that it would start eating into the circuit board. Now directly on the opposite side of this chip is the underside of the voltage regulator. So this thing would just eat, carbonizing the resin and fiberglass, mostly just the resin, until eventually it gets through onto the traces of the V-reg, and then that's when everything dies. Hey Miles, I'm more than happy for that to be happening, eh? Especially considering now, so many chips are firmware locked that we can't do anything about replacing them. Without the MLCCs, what would we have? I don't want to melt that. I don't want to melt the little sticker on top. There's no need for me to melt it. There we go. Because yeah, I mean, without the MLCC failures, we'd be in some serious trouble. And our short is gone. We're heading back up to the 1,000, usually about 3,000. You won't see it. And yeah. I will put a replacement on there. Definitely the lifespan is being shortened by the dust and crap that builds up on it. Let's see. 603, where are you? 201, 402, resistors, 402. What? Where's my 603 caps? Probably on the floor somewhere hiding. Where are you? 603s? There you are. Behind a box. Are those scratches on the unpopulated BGA? What scratches? What? 1025 603. This is the beast that we use. Let's see if we bring up the board view just to 100% verify. I don't want to be wrong. Huh. Where is my board view software? Oh, it's hilarious. Since I've changed this around, I don't know where my board view software has gone. Okay, let's see if this works. Va-va, it does. Okay, and this is a 1041. I think I need to put some guides on my background so I can see where things are. Anyway, this is it down here. C9081. Yeah, 10 microfarad. 1025 603. By the way, those of you who have not seen the little mini-map feature, doesn't seem all that important initially, but it's really handy when you want to just jump to places on the boards, or if you want to see, you know, where stuff goes, like, okay, where's that rail go, and you go, oh, it's up there, and you can just jump up there. It's one of those features that I'm very glad I finally ended up kicking my own backside and getting it installed. Okay, now I've got to work out how to get back. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Ha! Let's see, above. Yep. We actually better put some decent solder down. Yeah, a bit of the pad was eaten, and that's why I scrubbed it down a little more. And we're going to just add a couple of pico Rossmans of flux. Get our heat brick back on. And we're done. The only trouble with making Pico Rossmann a standard is that it makes Rossmann a standard, and I don't think we should be doing that. Quite right, creature. It's always flux. Always flux. I always clean up these edges. You see all the junk that comes off there? That's the edge that gets exposed to the outside elements being sucked in. Yes, Mr. Rossmann has retired. The world has moved on. At least from this kind of work. His legacy will be remembered. Well, the fact that he is remembered is his legacy. Yeah. But this here is the 2v5 that's on the other side of where that cap is. And thankfully that is perfectly clear. So like, to give you an idea, that's the cap, and that's the regulator. So they're close enough that, you know, this starts chewing out, and then, yeah, it takes out those rails. Complete mess. Actually, I should really double check, even though we've solved that problem. I should have another look over it. The board is actually pretty clean overall, but I want to check. Let's see, what do we got? Okay, so we only have NANDs on this side, thankfully. There are other times where it's on both sides, so you got to check both. Oh, yeah, check that out. How the hell did that happen? Was that me? I don't think so. Damn it, I'm annoyed I didn't check that. That is not the first time I've seen that damage. That, to me, feels like... this is where a T8 driver, it's one of the biggest screws in this machine. And I think what happens is people slip and they knock out those parts there, those two parts. Yeah. We're going to have to put those replacements in. That was lucky. I don't think it's super critical, but yeah, still need it replaced. But yeah, that's the second time now I've seen that in short succession. Yeah, the pads are still there. It's been smashed. Like, the actual pads of the part, in both cases, is still present. So they've definitely been physically dismounted, as it were. Like, as we do this, we actually pick up the pads of the components that were there. The end caps, rather, I should say. You can see I can move the end cap around. Yeah, they definitely got yeeted out of there, for sure. Hello, Hasina from Bahrain. Oh, I should know how to say that, and yet it defeats me right now. But hello, welcome. Thank you for visiting. Nice to see people from all over. Yeah, Mesa, right, okay, yep. So that's going to affect their touch ID kind of thing. Now, naturally, of course, we don't trust Pedro because Pedro is a scamming SOB. Anyway, we want this area here. And that looks like it's not a match. Or is it? Oh no, yeah, that's cool. It's these two parts. So we've got 100 nanofarad and a 2.2. It's 100 nanofarad 10 and a 2.263. Yeah, if I was a granny, I wouldn't be worried about Pedro too much. I know what I would be worried, what to be worried about if Pedro's in your area, believe me. Alright. Okay, 100 nanofarad. These are 201s, so I better get the 201 box. Oh. What voltage was it? 10 volt. 100 nanofarad, 10 volt. Oh, I never used one of these. Oh, that's right, I only just bought these yesterday. Or rather, I should say they only just arrived yesterday. You reckon I should do both at once? Of course I should. I wouldn't be me if I didn't do both at once. And 2263. Okay. The 2.263 could be interesting. 47063. Oh, they're on the same damn strip. Sorry, they're on the same carrot holder that I've got for all this stuff. You can tell that's a much bigger capacitance, that one, compared to this one, just in terms of their darkness and size. So even though they're both 201 footprint, you can see there's definitely a difference in their physical appearances and such. Yeah, 2 plastic connectors just for the hell of it, eh? Alright, let's go in. At least I got leaded solder. Yeah, the 2 microfarad is physically larger, but they are still classified as 201 footprints. There's a lot of wiggle room. Oh, jeez. Mr. Daniels just decided that a hot air wand belongs on his hand. Anyway, there you go. No melting. Perfect. Why did I take the microscope away? We got to keep looking. Just because we found those two doesn't mean we're at the end of the job. especially after we found those two. Now it's a case of what the hell else has been done here. I suppose we should go and check around most of the... See, at least this one here, if they slip with that T8, it's got nothing to smash onto. There's a little bit of a... Can you see that flare, that dark flare mark? Not sure what to think of that, but that looks like that's under the touch bar. So I'll have to check the touch bar connector, but yeah, something's definitely flared off there. Thankfully the PMIC looks okay. There's a little bit of a dimple under the AOE mark. Hopefully that's not anything. You should see the light centered on it right now under the little icon they have. There's a dimple there. That worries me a little bit. Sometimes the dimples are just a speck of dust they got in the cover paint or whatever. Sometimes it's a sign. Oh, the scratches are... right. That's jolly good to know. Thank you. Right, and that's where we did our repair. The first one, the actual repair, the proper one. Not the one that we had to do because of someone's loose screwdriver. Probably was Pedro. The ISL area looks tolerable. And this is all non-populated for the most part. I don't know what's gotten on top of that tantalum there. And that cat looks like it could have better life, but yeah. The nice thing is when these jobs fail like this, particularly because they are a 1990 or 2141s, they basically immediately do not get a long-term warranty, as it were. Due to the nature of the device, it becomes a data recovery repair, and you're obligated then to back up your data. And any extra life you get out of the machine, that's great. But the primary purpose with the 1990s and 2141s is this is for data, that's all you're going to get. Hey, Retro. Yeah, I saw there was rust on the inductor there, yeah. I've got 7 minutes left before the insulin alarm goes off. And I'm going to spend way too long looking for my brush. I mean, I would be happy to warrant a lot of this work, except for the fact that it's risky. People will do things... It's hard enough to get people to back up their data after they recovered from this. It sounds silly, but when the machine comes back to them and everything's working fine, people do not back up. They just don't back up. And so it is absolutely terrifying when you get an email from these places a week or two later and it says, "Oh, the machine's dead again. We didn't get a chance to back up." And you're like, "What? Why didn't you get a chance to back up? You know, the whole purpose of being sent here was to get your data, and you do that immediately when it gets home. You know, you open up the box, you have your backup drive, time machine ready, and go." I mean, I shouldn't be critical because honestly, I know how it happens. But I guess that's the point, is that I know, that human nature and life is such that it is not a case of the person being specifically stupid or careless or anything like that. It's just that there are so many things that go on that it's very easy to not get your data backed up. I'll put it this way, it's definitely a non-zero percentage. It's greater than zero. Yeah, it's not my problem, but it sort of can become it. Stephen, the 1990s, like I said, they are a good machine. I do like them. I think they, if it wasn't for the vent corrosion issue, they should have been a very much liked machine. But yeah, they're getting old. People do need to move to a new machine. Yeah, you can get easily another 5-6 years out of these, no problem. But the thing is, what you can do with the machines in terms of longevity versus what you should do as a general customer are somewhat different things. It's like people can still make Commodore 64s and ZX81s run, but it's not the sort of thing that you recommend to someone. I guess I should really test this, shouldn't I? Hey Rilla, good to see you there. Yeah, once people have got their machine back and it's working, they're like, hey, it's all good. Which is why, like I said, I do feel that Apple missed a superb opportunity to sell people iCloud backup storage space with enough for their data when they get these machines, not the silly 5 megabyte or whatever that they offer by default. Because more than likely, it would help Apple's sales in the sense of if the machine dies and the person knows, well, it's not a big issue, I've got my backup on my iCloud, they will go out and just get another Apple and replace it, rather than going, well, I need my data, so I need to go get this fixed, so I'm going to get it fixed, and now that it's fixed, I don't need to buy another machine. I'm sure Apple's got their reasons for not doing it that way. Hello, Alessandro. It's a ransom thing. Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? Alright. Big important thing to always do. Double check your rails. There's been a few times where I have not checked my rails after doing work, and then I'm going, why did it fail? Is it something I did, or did it spontaneously die, or what? Okay, that's good. $1K on the 2v5s. That's 0v9, so that's about right. That's right there. Okay, there's nothing on that side anyway. Yeah. Pretty sure that's 0v9. Yeah, that one is 0v9, 289 there, I reckon. Let's have a look at it in diode mode. It's not massively low. 3.0, so yeah, I'm getting 3.0. The board view says 289. I think we'll call that fair. Okay, so PV bus is good, 2v5 is good, 0v9 is good. From here, really, what else could you really pre-check to sort of cover your own backside. Okay. Would help if I had a lead. Who the hell took my charge lead? Come on, man. We've got 2 minutes. 1 minute. Ah, there it is. For some reason, it's underneath the computer. The bench, rather. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. 20 volts, good start. Okay, we've got a full charge current there, 2 amps plus 2.4. Now we want to hear a bong and a startup. It's staircasing, so that's nice. And you can't see it, but there is a log in there. Is that a mower here? Oh, it is not. Alright, so this thing is up and running. Very dim screen at the moment, but that's okay. The point is, the person's going to be able to get their data back now, so that's what matters. And it's 10 o'clock, so I need to shuffle off. I've got to go give Micro his insulin, and that pretty much is it for tonight. I may edit this into a video, I'm not sure. Who knows? Anyway, we'll call it a win. I'm going to be a little bit richer. You're a little bit richer because you watched it with me. Isn't that nice? Yes. And the customer's going to be richer because emotionally, because they're going to get their information back. Financially, a little less. But that's okay. We've got to share this stuff around. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you all on the next one. Till then, you all take care. I'll see you later.